Hey guys, welcome back. So today I want to talk about some steering solutions for you guys swapping in axles, and depending on what knuckles you're going to use, what you might run into. So Jim, if you're watching, this is actually your front axle, and we kind of chatted about fixing some steering issues. But this is a J-Truck 44 closed knuckle front end. We've cut down narrow track-ish width. Chromo shafts, E-locker, and we're running the 77, 78 disc brakes. This is also similar brake stuff that you would find on a 71 to 80 Scout. But we're using our 30 knuckles. And when you use 30 knuckles on a Dana 44, one of the issues that you can run into is this tie rod wanting to hit your diff cover, especially when you're adjusting stops are adjusted to normal, or you want to get a little bit more turning radius, because as we know, an open knuckle front axle has a better turning radius than a closed knuckle axle. So one of the issues that you run into with this hitting is, okay, well, how do you stop that from happening? And as you can see, I'll shoot right down here, and you can see where that would hit on your diff cover. Now you'd lose quite a bit of turning radius. So there's a couple things. Well, okay, just adjust your stops so that doesn't happen. Okay, you can do that. But is that really the best long-term solution? Probably not. So what's your next option? Well, your next option is just to flip this on top. There's really two ways to do that now. You can buy a reamer and just slowly go down, top down, and ream this so your tie rod fits through and it'll work. Now, the problem with that is you kind of create this hourglass effect in here where you have your big taper on the bottom, and then now you're going to have a big taper up top, and that top of the threads isn't necessarily going to be seated, or the material it's seated into might not be quite as much. Now, I have seen guys do that, and they've ran it for a long time and never had a problem. But there's better solutions out there now, and they're really not that expensive to do. And I think long-term, you'll get a better result out of it. And one of the things also I want to talk about is how much clearance you gain by flipping this tie rod to the top. So if you look at, I'll grab my tape measure here. So from the flat part of the knuckle to the top of your, I'm trying to do this here, guys, is about 1.25 inches, okay? So, and then when you account for the thickness of your knuckle, that's over 3/4 inch. So there's 2 inches there. And then if you flip this upside down, now you've got 1.25 inches going down. So it's like 3.25 inches what you gain by moving this up, which is a lot. And by doing that, now your drag link is going to run at a much, much nicer angle, and your steering geometry is going to be a lot nicer. Also gaining you the clearance to go lock to lock on your tie rod. Because now, as you can see, we are at full lock, and look at all that clearance. We have tons. We could probably even adjust these more, but you also don't want to adjust them too crazy, because a U-joint will only run at a certain angle before you really put strain on it. Now, how do you get these on top safely? Well, first thing you're going to do is figure out what inserts you're going to need. Now, there's a company out there called TMR Customs. They build these inserts. These ones are specifically for the certain tie rod ends, the CJ tie rod ends. I believe they make like 4, maybe 5 different sizes. So, you're going to have to take a micrometer and make sure you're getting the right ones. But once you do, these ones call for being the knuckles being drilled out to 3/4 inch. And the way I do that is just a bridge reamer. This kit I just bought because it had an assortment, but these are relatively inexpensive and they work great for just going down. If you're going to do it with a drill bit, it's going to be, I think you're not going to be happy with how much more difficult it is. But you drill those out. To run these top down, you're going to put this flange on the bottom side, and then what you're going to do is insert that, and then you're just going to weld that around there. Doesn't have to be a structural weld, just enough to hold it. And there you go. That puts your tie rod and drag link up top. Also, the nice thing about this is if you wanted to run, say, 1-ton steering, this is pretty sturdy stuff. This is better than what you'll find factory. But say if you wanted to run the 1-ton steering stuff, and this is, you know, that's a piece of tubing for the 1-ton stuff. You're going to have to flip one of these on top because of the tie rod ends being so big. As you can see, there's not a ton of clearance even with these two. So one's going to have to be on top, one's going to have to be on bottom. And now it just gives you the ability to do that. So look up TMR Customs if you're looking to flip your steering and fix this issue. If you're going to want to run 30 knuckles with a 44 housing, I highly recommend doing it just so you don't lose turning radius and you know, you keep the drivability of your rig as high as possible. So hopefully this helps you out. If you guys got any questions or comments, leave them below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next one.